Hey guys, Roxabox90 here with another spoiler speculation video. So this one is going to involve me discussing my thoughts on the Planeswalkers Guide to Theros article, which if you haven't heard about, it deals with the story and the backstory to a number of the Theros gods as well as a number of artworks for the set. So we're going to go through the article. It's actually pretty detailed. I'm hoping, since it's part one, I believe, of three, that Wizards is going to give us some pretty interesting good stuff along the lines of New Phyrexia, which for those who haven't followed since New Phyrexia, these guides, they're basically short but not too short backgrounds to the set in terms of story and flavor, which I really like, especially since they've stopped making books, especially the trilogy books, to give a background story. So I'm hoping that this one continues to be as good as the first one is. That's the intro to this video, which is a while, but let's go into it. So first off, they say this is the plane of Theros, and Theros is monsters and divine beings. Heroes are born, legends are made. Yay. And here we see a soldier bowing to, I presume this is a picture of Helio, the white sun god, on a chariot of fire, which kind of feels very Zeus-like in terms of the worship, in terms of the portrayal of him holding out a spear with sun around his head. It could be a lightning bolt. It could be Zeus, a Zeus-like figure, albeit a bit younger. So kind of cool. The art's by Zach Stella. Then we go into the land of Nyx, which those who haven't been following, I kind of talked about Nyx and showed some artwork for it. It's the place where mortals sleep and dream on Theros, and you're said to visit Nyx in the night. It's also considered the home of the gods, which is kind of cool. And as you can see here, you have one of the godlike beings, and here you have an archer. You don't know if this is a regular archer because there's more of one of them. My first guess was that it's going to be the green goddess, but then I saw there's multiples of them, so I'm not really sure. But I guess this is in dreams there, which is also the night sky they're fighting, which is kind of cool, actually. I really like the Nyx artwork, and it's going to be very nice to see foiled some cards that deal with it, for sure. That's by Sam Burley. Then enchantments. We get to the gods themselves, which the gods are considered living enchantments. And for this reason, all enchantments are thought to be given by the gods. What's important about this is you have to realize if the gods are living enchantments, that could very well mean that they are enchantment creatures. They might be legendary enchantment creatures, along the lines of Eldrazi, but that does make it very likely they're going to be enchantment creatures. The question will be, they could be enchantment creatures. Again, this is speculation on my part. They could be enchantment creatures that are both in one. They could also be enchantments that attach to creatures and maybe then become their own creatures or change the creatures into something else. But something about them saying that they're living enchantments makes me believe that it's more along the lines of a creature enchantment. How that would work, not really sure. And it says here, when other creatures such as nymphs demonstrate the infusion of the night sky that all the gods have in common, it's taken their servants of the gods, so I wonder if they connect to the nymphs of the set. I wonder. Then the gods of Theros, and this is where interesting stuff happens. Helio, the god of the sun, he's pretty much the white god, as you'd expect. He upholds law, justice, retribution, etc. You can read in the article his domain and what he says he's supposed to be ruling over. He feels kind of classic, and his signature item is Cruiser the Sun Spear. So this is important because this is the first individual you see the art is separate from him. So it makes me wonder if they're going to have specific auras, but I'm thinking more along the lines of equipment that would be the god equipments. This is interesting also because it makes, I speculated a bit about this. I speculated about this a long time ago, about them making, sort of like Erebus, the demon blade, where it flipped into a huge creature. So I wonder the mechanic, if you could have their spear and then somehow turns into them or connects to them somehow. I think that could be very, very cool. But either way, even would just be cool just to have a cycle of equipments from the gods. I'm thinking that's a lot more likely than auras. So that's pretty cool. That is his spear, and his personality is that he is really annoying. And he says, he's hypocritical. He says, I'm very, honorable, and then he's very fickle to those who pledge to him and such. So he's annoying. and it talks through their worship. I'm not going to go into all those details, but you can read about it. Thassa, god of the sea, is kind of different in a sense in that Thassa will take from the retainers and not give back, doesn't really care. God of the sea, so you kind of assume that it's going to be sea connected, whatever flavor or abilities it relates to will be, blue, blue heavy, and you have the spear of Thassa. It's not really a spear; it's more like a two-pronged spear, almost like a trident, but a trident's three, so whatever a two-pronged spear is called. And then we have Tritons. Remember, this we speculated was Thassa originally because it was a question of which artwork it was, since we didn't know who this was. It was either that or this. These are the Tritons, which are kind of the merfolk-like of Thassa. And they worship Tritons, and the humans of Meletis follow. So these are Tritons, which is kind of cool to have that confirmed. Very nice. And then we have Erebos, god of the underworld, who actually seems to be the least annoying of all the gods because his story is really, really interesting. When he first showed up out of the shadow that was Heliod's light, Heliod freaked out and banished him to the underworld, which he actually is kind of cool with, which I like. I like that they're making a black god that's not all mighty demon evil. He actually kind of accepts being the lord of the undead. He kind of thinks like that's his place and that's where he wants to be, and that's why when anyone tries to escape death, he comes after them with vengeance because, hey, if he's doing his job, they better do theirs. So he's very, very cool. I really like the flavor with him, and his weapon is freaking awesome. It's a whip. It's mastics, but it's a golden-handled god whip thing, which is really cool. And yeah, I really hope this is some sort of awesome equipment of some sort or whatever. And he uses it to snatch souls from the dead. So can you imagine that? Like the black god just standing there whipping back these souls. Very, very cool. Then this is another whip thing. I'm not really sure. This is just more artwork. Again, this could be just probably some sort of weenie, white weenie probably, or black weenie card probably because it looks like Erebos related. Then we finally have the red god's name, Purphoros, which actually, since the dual decks was revealed, they had something of Purphoros. So that was already, I was thinking in my head, maybe that's the red god's name, and it is confirmed. Purphoros, god of the forge. He looks like a big titan thing, and it's kind of cool if you see he's kind of pulling his hammer out of a volcano, but it's attached to the volcano. So that's kind of all kinds of awesome. He's ripping it out of a volcano, guys. Come on, that's freaking cool. And he forges like his hammer. And of course, he's like the rest of them, very self-centered, very much like the Grecian and Roman gods. That he's very self-centered and flawed and so on. And here, he doesn't matter who he kills. He has his will, and he does as he wants. So he's killing what looks like a cat person. So this is weird because there are some cats. I think they're called Nemesians in Greek mythos. But it's kind of unusual. They probably tried to figure out we need some sort of Leonin-like, white weenie race, and we can't just have them all be humans again because we did that already in Innistrad. So they decided to settle on random cat warriors. But this kind of is speculation also, but it looks like we're going to have some sort of cat race filling in. And I like the Leonin, so that could work. That could definitely work. Then we have Nylea, the goddess of the hunt, and she's pretty much the same as we expected. We have a bow and arrow. And personality, of course, she's aloof and thoughtful, and she's feral, animalistic. Basically, she's quick to anger and vengeance, and she keeps to herself and does what most most green and blue goddess-like creatures in the past have done. If you know Fraelis as a planeswalker in Magic Mythos, she kind of did the same thing. She did whatever she wanted, and she kept herself very separate. And then we have, this looks like a lynx of some sort. Reminds me of that glowing lynx from, I think it's Invasion Block, which is it just looks really cool. The art is fabulous. The art guys in the set is stunning. But the most important part of that paragraph is that she has a tumultuous relationship with Karametra, the god of the hearth. So this makes me wonder if a lot of the minor god hints that we've seen in the past, such as that playmat that could potentially be a goddess of some sort or a minor goddess, if they're saying there's Karametra, as we know, is not one of the 5 gods, so I wonder if they're going to have kind of like the Eldrazi minions or the other smaller Eldrazi, they'll have minor gods. And this is one more reinforcement of that concept. I think it could very well be true. Kind of cool. Or they're god sort of creatures we'll see in the next 2 sets. But we'll have to see how that works out. And that's pretty much it. So when we get to part two, we'll talk about part two of the basically background and story to Theros. But so far, it's looking very, very cool. I love some of the stuff they've shown us, and some of the artwork. Well, most of the artwork is stunning. Some things have been confirmed, some things have been spoiled, and those are my thoughts. So let me know yours below in the comments section as well. Check out my channel sponsors and the links to the Planeswalker Guide to Theros in the description of the video. And as always, Roxbox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.